My name is Lyndsey Pachon. I'm a real estate broker and co-owner of Fall River Property Management. We specialize in the profitable management of multifamily properties in the Fall River and New Bedford, Massachusetts area. Landlords and property managers get a really bad rap when it comes to eviction. Insensitive, uncaring, inhumane. There's a narrative where property owners profit on the backs of homeless or displaced residents. And while I'm sure that there are some greedy, self-serving, I don't care how I get there, just take me to the top assholes, I can only speak to the landlords that I've worked with. And I can assure you that the I don't care how I get there, just take me to the top asshole is not the norm. I honestly couldn't do my job if I wasn't working to protect a group of people who deserve my protection. And this is where the most fundamental truth of property management comes into play. I've said this before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. You can't control what your tenants do. You can't control if they mismanage their trash and make your property dirty. You can only clean it up. You can't control if they pay their rent on time or even at all. You can't control if they start breeding pit bulls, if they fight loud at night, or if they're overall bad neighbors to the rest of the tenants. You can't even stop them if they decide they want to shit in the bathtub instead of the toilet and leave it there. We really have seen it all. And perhaps most notably, you can't control if they keep it their job, and you can't control whether they use the money that they earn at their job to pay rent. In fact, the only thing that you have control over is whether or not they're allowed to live in your apartment. Our clients are the owners of investments that we are contracted to protect. Our tenants are the lifeblood of these investments. We need the tenants and we value the tenants. But just as landlords are required to live up to their end of the lease agreement by providing maintenance and minimum housing requirements, tenants have to live up to their end of the contract. They have to pay their rent and they can't destroy the property. If the landlord fails to live up to their end of the agreement, tenants are free to take court action or simply move out. But if the tenant doesn't live up to their end of the agreement, the landlord's only option is court action. It's unfortunate that all landlord court action falls under the umbrella of eviction, because not all court action ends with tenants being forced to move out. There are two major types of evictions in Massachusetts: an eviction for termination and an eviction for non-payment. In a termination eviction, the landlord has decided that the tenant cannot live there anymore. The primary focus of this type of eviction is getting a move-out date. The move-out date is usually decided in mediation, and the landlord's reasons for eviction, the tenant's payment history, none of this is taken into consideration in mediation. A non-payment eviction is the other type. It seeks payment, but not necessarily possession. It often ends with the tenant payment plan, which allows them to keep their apartment as long as they pay according to court documents. Both types of evictions, even if your tenant doesn't get forced to move, will be on their record for future landlords to see. In my next video, I'll discuss in greater detail both types of evictions and highlight the pros and cons of each. But for today, I'll leave you with this. The court system in Massachusetts is designed to protect the tenant from unfair practices. If you pursue court action for good reason, you are doing nothing wrong. In fact, you are doing everything right. Because the court won't make tenants pay slumlords, but they will make a landlord make repairs for a non-paying tenant. And I'm not saying that this isn't the way it should be, but I'm saying that legal action is a perfectly civil and fair way to handle an issue like this, and there's no shame in protecting your asset that you worked hard for. Please remember that I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. I'm just a property manager looking at a landlord, asking them to protect their asset. Thank you for tuning in and have a beautiful day.